Hey guys, the maintenance for King's Raid is just about to end on February 8th, 2018, and with it, a lot of changes are coming. So buckle down because there's not only patch notes, but there's also notes for 2 or 3 different events and some other stuff. So first off, here is the actual patch notes. There are 3 new heroes, and the heroes in Arena Shop and unique weapon tickets have been updated. Theo, Mediana, and Artemia will appear at the heroes in. Sonia, Murianne, and Scarlet unique weapons will be added to the Arena Shop and the unique weapon ticket. As for new heroes, there's the Merchant of Poison Requina, there's the Cursed Blood Ezekiel, and there's the Pathfinder Fate Ophelia. So let's start off with Requina. She is an archer. She uses poisons. Her unique weapon is the Flute of Silent Winds Rock Shafar. And its effect is the max stack of Tickle Tickle Potion is increased to 55. Each auto attack has a 10% chance of attacking a random enemy, dealing 20% of attack as damage and inflicting silence for 1 second. So, just like a rated hero, 3 skills and a passive. Her first skill attacks 2 enemies and deals physical damage while poisoning with the Tears of Mr. Python. Enemies inflicted with this poison cannot recover mana, take increased damage, and their block chance is reduced. So this is pretty terrifying in PvP, because if you can't recover mana, you can't use skills. Then Screechy Grass Extract attacks a random enemy 3 times, dealing physical damage, while poisoning them with Screechy Grass Extract for a while. Enemies inflicted with it have their attack and critical chance reduced. And then her third is More Stronger. Her own attack is increased for a while, and the effect of Tears Mr. Python, Screechy Grass Extract, and her passive Tickle Tickle Potion are doubled. Also, the target of these 3 is increased by 1, so she can have 2 targets poisoned at once. Tickle Tickle Potion's effect is, upon attack, poisons target enemy with Tickle Tickle Potion for a while, which deals physical damage over time and cannot be dispelled. Tickle Tickle Potion can be stacked max 50 times, 55, with her unique weapon. And I'd imagine that probably goes up by 5 for every star you get. And God, does it feel weird saying Tickle Tickle Potion. I cannot take myself seriously saying that. So these are her Transcendence perks. I'm not going to go too in-depth in them because I'm not very good at analyzing this type of stuff, but I'm sure there's going to be lots of discussion on the subreddit later, and people seem to be in agreement that she is the strongest of the 3 heroes. Next up, we have the Cursed Blood Ezekiel. He is an assassin, and he does magical damage. Requina does physical. Ezekiel and Ophelia, both do magical damage. So he's got a demon arm for a weapon. His unique weapon is the Jailer of Despair, Barbatos, and it increases his Fury duration by 2 seconds, and when in a Fury state, critical damage is increased by 80%. So a critical hit is probably going to be, and damage, but mostly hit and attack, are probably going to be pretty important for Ezekiel here. So his first skill is Destructive Instinct. It swipes at nearby enemies in a circular range and deals magic damage, then strikes the ground, dealing magic damage, and knocking down enemies for 3 seconds. And each of his abilities also have a second effect that activates if he's in the Fury mode. This one, it consumes 15% of current HP to activate, effect range increases and swipe attack draws in enemies. His second skill is Dawning Despair, which dashes to an enemy with the highest attack and deals magical damage to enemies in range, reducing their attack speed. The Fury effect is it consumes 10% of his current HP to activate, and the effect range increases, stuns the target, and increases his own attack speed for a while. His third effect skill is Strike of Doom, which collects energy and attacks target enemy, dealing magic damage and inflicting stun. The Fury effect is it consumes 20% of his current HP to activate and attacks enemies in range of target, and the damage is tripled, which is pretty huge. Finally, his passive is what ties it all together. He gains 1 stack of Cursed Blood at the end of using each skill. Once he gets a 4th stack, it consumes all the Cursed Blood to reset all skill cooldowns, deals magic damage to nearby enemies, and knocks them down for 3 seconds, while activating a Fury effect that cannot be dispelled. So while in Fury state, he goes into an auto battle mode that cannot be controlled, his attack is increased, his auto attack damage is doubled, and all skill effects are reinforced. He cannot gain Cursed Blood during the Fury state except for when killing an enemy, which means you're not going to be keeping him in the Cursed Blood state unless you're going on a sort of killing spree between enemies, because even though it resets all his skill cooldowns, none of them are going to generate Cursed Blood for him. So he's kind of like a berserker. Even though he's an assassin, his real class is probably like a berserker. So once again, Transcendence perks, some pretty interesting stuff here, especially ignoring defense for 2 of them. And then finally, we have the Pathfinder of Fate, Ophelia. So she is a tarot card user. Tarot, I don't know. An astrologist of Stardust. So we'll skip the background story here. So she's a wizard. She does magic damage just like Ezekiel does. Her unique weapons are the Cards of Destiny Del Arcana. Upon attack, there's a 77.7% chance that for 7 seconds, attack speed is increased by 70... No, sorry, it's only by 20. You'd think they'd have gone for the full 7/7 here, but no. For balance purposes, it's only by 20. And mana recovery per second is increased by 10%. But this effect can be stacked at a maximum of 15 times. So I'm not sure if you... It seems that you'd have to be able to reset the cooldown of the stack every time you stack it. Otherwise, it's clear that there's no way you're ever going to get to 15 times without somehow uber maxing her attack speed. But we'll have to see in game. So, Card of Death Karta is her first skill. It attacks enemy target, dealing magic damage and inflicting stun for a while. Consumes the card in possession to inflict additional effects. Upon using the skill, gains the Card of Death. So Ophelia is a very complex character. Each of her skills gives her a different card. Using Card of Death comes from skill 1, Love from skill 2, and Fortune from skill 3. And each of her skills then has a different effect that consumes whichever card she currently has equipped. She does not start with a card unless I believe you have a Transcendence perk, which means that the correct order of her skills and proper micromanagement of her skills will vastly change how Ophelia performs. So she seems like a character you can have to babysit a lot for maximum efficiency, and it'll have to be seen just how useful she'll be both in auto and when you're manualing with her. Anyways, back to the skill. Upon using the skill, gain the Card of Death. So the Death card from after Karta is that you get to ignore defense, and the stun duration increases by 5 seconds, which is pretty huge. The Love card deals magic damage over time for 7 seconds and reduces the heal rate by 100%. And the Fortune skill cooldown does not take effect. So Fortune lets you shoot this twice. Death lets it do a lot more damage and a long stun. Whereas Love has a damage over time and prevents them from being healed by the rest of their team. Then you've got the Card of Love, Elysiad. Attack is increased and mana recovery per second is increased. Consumes the card, blah, blah, blah. So, Death, you get penetration increased for the duration of the skill because this is a self-buff skill. Love is this grants effect to all allies, which lets her buff the entire team. And Fortune, once again, the skill cooldown does not take effect. Then finally the Card of Fortune, Valekia. Attacks target enemy and nearby enemies in range and deals magic damage. This attack does not miss, and this card's attacks critical damage is increased by 80%. So you get the Fortune card after using this. The Death effect is that crit damage is increased by an additional 150% for a whopping 230%. The Love effect is it dispels positive effects of enemies in range and silences for 1 second, so a nice dispel effect. Enemy dispel effect, rather. And Fortune is the skill cooldown does not take effect and it recovers 1 orb of mana. So you can see that for each of them, if you can use the same skill twice in a row, you get a much more powerful effect usually than the other 2 skills. However, you do have to not use any other skills for the duration, which is pretty difficult. Then her passive is the Pathfinder of Fate. All allies' attack is increased and crit chance is increased. Ophelia gains additional effects according to the card in possession. So, the nice thing about that, what I just said about the using the same card effect as your card, is that holding onto a card gives you a buff. So for Death, it's attack increase. For Love, it heals a certain percent of her max HP every second. And Fortune is her magical dodge chances increased. So then you've got her Transcendence perks. She does get to start with a card for, what is it? Here, the Pathfinder Fate skill. However, it doesn't give her the extra passive. It only lets her start with a card to have a very powerful version of either, I want to say it's Death and Love? Yeah. So a very powerful version of Death or of Love. And then there's League of Honor updates. So the Season 1 for the League of Honor has begun. It will last 8 weeks. Top 100 players will get special costumes, but only whales really care about that, so yeah. Hero balance patch and bug fixes. So Castle got some nice changes here. So his Proxy of God skill, the skill that really lets him stand out, has been changed to, instead of knocking back nearby enemies and dealing physical damage, to deals physical damage to nearby enemies and inflicts a 3-second stun. Now you might recognize this as his previous Proxy of God Light Transcendence perk. which is now a mana cost is reduced by 1, which is very nice because that is a 4 mana skill, I believe. And that's very expensive. So making it 1 less mana does a lot to help Castle. Roi got a small nerf to his Transcendence 5 Dark perk, from a 15% chance to proc to a 10% chance to proc. Philip got some changes. Jane got some nice changes, actually. So the Master of Death, the Dark perk, has been changed from mana cost reduced by 1 to Engraved Mark is not dispelled when negative effects are dispelled, which is pretty big. That makes her viable in Chapter 7, I believe. Nick's got some buffs, but they're not really buffs to his PvP, it's more to his PvE for his skills. His current perks that he uses probably won't change too much based on this, but it's nice to have more options. And finally, Visca gets some buffs. Stacked Souls can't be dispelled, which is her skill 4. And then the Transcendence perk for that skill for the Dark version was also changed. Previously, she gained 50% attack when holding 5 souls, and now it's per each stacked soul attack is increased by 10%, which means she doesn't have to get to 5 souls just to gain the perk, which is nice. Then there's some bug fixes, some content revamps, so you now get 5 conquest entries a day instead of 3, which is big for people trying to level their teams. Max stamina will be increased based on owned heroes, so it'll go up by, your max stamina will go up by 1 for each hero you own, which it's not a lot, especially for newer players who only have 5 or 6 heroes, but it's still nice to have, especially with the brand new stamina potion they're adding, which is, there's a new stamina potion, which is the full stamina potion, which recovers your stamina fully. And then the old stamina potion has been, its price has been reduced. So the old stamina potion is still 150 stamina, but its price has been reduced and there is a better stamina potion out for experienced players. Then there's also been some adjustments to the daily and weekly mission rewards. So you can see 20 rubies, you get 2 stamina potions now, still 100 victory points, still once 10 summon item, 400,000 instead of 200,000 gold, 20 instead of 10 mysterious fragments. You still get the skill books, but instead of mysterious, you get skill book tickets, which lets you choose the skill books. You also get 200,000 instead of 100,000 gold for the token of friendships, and the ruby stays the same. So still 50 rubies a day for daily, but more gold. You can choose which skill books you want now, and an extra stamina potion. Oh, and double the fragment tickets, which isn't bad. Also, same with the fragments, it's not mysterious fragments anymore, it's fragment tickets. And then the weeklies, so instead of 1,000 magic powder, it's 2 full stamina potions. You get 2 experience boosters for 1 hour, 2 million gold instead of 1 million gold, same victory points, special items, gold boosters, double the fragments, and it's a fragment ticket again, same amount of skill books, but it's a ticket, and same amount of rubies. The fragment essence ticket crafting content has been added, so this is what these tickets are for. Fragment and essence tickets are added in the growth menu, and you can get to them through the crafting screen. New stamina potion, like I just talked about. Some streaming changes, main screen UI revamp, so you can now check ongoing events and others much more conveniently using the miscellaneous menu. All this stuff on the left side. The battlefield graphics have been changed from 2D to 3D, which actually looks really nice when you look at it right here. Gameplay optimization, so this should be pretty good, as a lot of people were complaining since the last patch about the game eating through their phone batteries and eating through pretty much processing power on their tablets and stuff, so hopefully that fixes some of those. There's a new raid title image and app icon, so the new app icon is just a reverse version of Cleo with first anniversary added. Here's the brand new title image. You got Klaus, Theo, Scarlet, Gal, Louisa, and Artemia, who is totally staring at Klaus's crotch right here. They've also done a nice little change to the Forge Guild Raid Stockade event dungeon UI. So before, basically, it was kind of cutting off this part of the screen, so you could only really see these 3, and unless you scroll to the right, you could never really tell there was a 4th one here. So they made it visible now so that you can see that you should scroll over to find it. And there's a lot of new events starting. Okay, so let's get to the events, because this is the fun stuff. The King's Raid for 1-year anniversary pre-register event continues until the 11th of February, 23:59:59. So if you haven't pre-registered yet, definitely get on that. You get a unique weapon ticket, a T1 hero ticket, a bunch of 10 summon tickets, and I want to say gold or something. I totally forget what the fourth one is. Some pretty nice stuff, though. Really nice stuff. There's a Gear Awakening 50% discount event, so for anyone that's been putting off upgrading their gear, now is the time to do it for sure. That'll last until the end of Valentine's Day. Other than that, there's a Lunar New Year's event starting up. There's a Valentine's Day event that will start on the 12th of February until the end of Valentine's night. And there's also the King's Raid 1-year anniversary attendance check-in event. So a lot of pretty big changes here. Like, there's a lot of events going on. And let's just jump right to one of them. That is not an event. I am sorry. Here is an event. Perfect. I was browsing Reddit. So, special shop updates. So this is an event, but it is a special shop update, which also has some of the event stuff in it. So, the special treatment package for newbies, the new package update during the maintenance of February 8th, hero and unique weapon package discount only for newbies, can be purchased via pop-up messages visualized randomly. So I'm assuming this isn't for new players. I want to say this is for the new heroes, but we'll find out soon. Vespa does use some confusing language sometimes. Here is a new hero package. So after the maintenance of February 8th until Valentine's Day, the night of Valentine's Day, a package that includes 1 of 3 new heroes, can be purchased only once per each hero. So you get a 3-star version of new hero, 3 types of fragments to the class, 360 of each, 4 types of skill books to the class, 80 of each, a bunch of experience potions, a Stone of Infinity, and a special item summon. So everything you need to get them to Transcendence 1, as well as 10 million gold. And get them at least the first 2 levels of each of their skills, the 20 and 60 levels. So, as well as a ton of levels, like actual levels, which is pretty nice. So make sure that if you do want the hero package that you don't purchase the heroes from the special shop, as you cannot purchase the package once you do that. Then there's the Lunar New Year's Fortune Pocket, which kind of ties into the Lunar New Year event that we'll be getting to in a second. So until the next maintenance, you can purchase the following items with rubies, either 1 for 250 or 10 for 2,500. So the Red Fortune Pocket for 250 can be purchased 5 times a day, and the Red Fortune Pocket can be purchased maximum of 5 times during the event period. The new hero special summon rate up for the special item summon times 10 for getting their unique weapons, as well as artifacts. New hero special summon rate up. So here's all the stuff from the Fortune Pocket. So it's kind of confusing with this patch note, but here's the Fortune Pocket stuff. 1 million gold, 1500 magic powder, 300 mysterious fragment, 20 mysterious skill books, 3 heroic runes or 1 ancient rune, upper dungeon key, ancient royal vault key, stockade key, loot booster, gold booster, experience booster, 5 stamina potions, fancy traditional pendant, which is an artifact, a 7-day gold booster, a 7-day experience booster, or 50 unique weapon fragments. So a lot of good stuff. The 1-year anniversary attendance package, you can also, so an extra attendance board package is available for purchase. So if you choose, for example, the raid package, you can then purchase a King's Raid or Vespa package as well to get 2 packages, which is pretty big actually, seeing as those packages are absolutely insane. Of course, it will depend entirely on what the price for the package is, so that remains to be seen. And that package will disappear 3 months after the purchasing period, so don't try to save it, just use it right away, because you don't want it disappearing. Apart from that, yeah, so that's just the stuff in the packages. So, next up, the event notice. So this is the Valentine's Day event that starts on the 12th and ends on Valentine's Day's night at midnight. So, you can claim the sets of chocolate, friendship, love, hate, and love. You can claim 1 set per day, and you equip them like flasks. So, the friendship chocolate requires 300 stamina to be filled up, and it will give 2 million experience. The love-hate chocolate is 400 stamina to fill up and gives you 1,000 stamina. And then the love chocolate is 500 stamina and gives 500 rubies. So it's just a nice little event. You'd be using the stamina anyways, so might as well. I'm not sure if they're going to take the experience away from you like other flasks do, or if it'll just let you keep the experience and act as kind of like a second artifact, because each of the chocolates does give a nice little effect. 100 crit chance, 20% crit damage, 100 attack speed, or 10% attack. So only 10%, 20%, 10%, and 10%. So here's the chocolates, can be equipped on heroes in the form of a flask, and select any NPC among the 4, and you can pick different NPC every day during the event period. Example, day 1 May, day 2 Nikki, and then achieve the chocolate and equip on your hero. So you only need to take one of the flasks, I believe. You only get to take one of the flasks even, and then once you fill it up, you return it, and you get the nice little reward. So it's not a huge event, but I mean, with all the other events they're doing, especially with the 1 year event, I can totally understand why this event's a little less priority. And who can really complain about 500 rubies and a bit of experience and stamina? It's just a nice little thing to have. Alright, and then they talk about the 1 year anniversary special attendance event, so you get to choose which one you want, King's Raid and Vespa. And then, of course, they go over once again what all of them have in them. Some really nice rewards here. And yeah, it's just really, really nice. Alright, and finally, we have the New Year's event. So, we're almost done, guys. We're getting there. I think my furnace has turned on again, so try to ignore that. So, hello, this is GM Luna. 3rd of February. The 3rd of February. So, come get your New Year's fortune. Event details. February 8th, Thursday after maintenance for next maintenance. Gather the traditional pendant and exchange with the reward you want. So, gather the traditional pendant, challenge the battle, earn the traditional pendant. By playing a battle, you can earn up to 300 pieces of traditional pendant a day, resets at midnight. Stages you can earn the traditional pendant are Chapter 1 to 7, all difficulty modes, Dragon Raid, and Challenge Raid. So basically you have to spend stamina. And use your rubies and earn the pendant. So there's 2 ways to get them. When you consume rubies during the event period, traditional pendants will be delivered into your mailbox. 2,500 rubies would give you 250p, so it's a 10-to-1 ratio. And you can earn a maximum of 1,000 points from rubies, which means don't try to spend more than 10,000 rubies during the event for this event, as you can only earn 1,000 points for it. Rubies consumed in following content will be excluded from the count. Rune preservation, option reforging, inventory expansion, immediate completion of crafting, transcendent slot expansion, maze special shop reset, special dungeon key reset for the upper dungeon conquest, stockade, and arena. So any of the stuff that you normally do to reset, usually use your rubies for, will not count for this. You do have to use them in the special shop. Pretty much, yeah, the special shop. Alright, and 3, participate in the web event and earn the reward, all the blessings to you. So, to check the event, please refer to the event notice below. Once you've collected the fortune pockets of the 3 methods above, please find the New Year's event NPC in the central Orville, and check the listed products in the event shop. So, the products are Rainbow Fortune Pocket ×1, which you can get 100 times for 28 points each, which means that's going to be 2,000 points in total. Random Unique Weapon Ticket ×1 for 1,500 for 1 time. 1,000 artifact pieces, which is pretty much a random artifact weapon ticket ×1 for another 1,000 points. Intermediate enchant box ×1, 5 times, 160 points, so that's another 800 points. 15 points for experience potion deluxe ×1, 40 times, which is, I want to say, 600 points. And then no limit for stamina potion ×1, but that's 200 points, which means don't buy those until you bought everything else. So to add them all up, 2,000, 3,500, 4,500, 5,300, 5,900 points for everything. So depending on how many points you're in per day, you might have to choose between certain things first. Obviously go for the unique weapon ticket, the artifact pieces, and probably the fortune pocket first, just because those are the important stuff. Upon opening the rainbow fortune pocket, you can obtain this stuff. Between 100 and 500,000 gold, between 100 and 1,000 magic powder, between 20 and 100 mysterious fragments, 20 mysterious skill books of certain type, mysterious 5 heroic runes or 1 ancient rune, 1 of any of the keys, gold booster, loot booster, experience booster, or the fancy fortune pocket artifact. So full of New Year's fortune, event details, blah, blah, blah. And then the other one is participate in the battle for 30 minutes, earn many different rewards. So if you just spend 30 minutes in battle, you'll get all 4 of these rewards, which are traditional pendant, 100 points, a rainbow fortune pocket, a traditional pendant, 200 points, so 300 points in total, and a special item summon ×1. So 1 special item summon. And achieve the reward every time you reach 5, 10, 15, or 30 minutes of playtime. But you can only get all 4 rewards once per day, and you get 1 mission count for all the Blessings to You event. If you make 7 counts, you get the Fancy Fortune Pocket artifact for free. So don't worry about not getting the artifact, just make sure you finish the event all 7 times, and you'll get the artifact no matter what. The artifact's pretty good. I want to say it's 100 crit chance and 20% crit damage, so 10% crit chance and 20% crit damage, which is really nice for anyone that wants to raise a crit hero and doesn't necessarily have the gear for them yet, and especially for new players that want to use someone like Roa that requires high crit but don't have the gear to give him high crit. This will make him much more viable early on. So how they determine battle is once you begin a battle, the battle duration will be recorded and accumulated for each battle. Upon reaching the designated time, you'll be able to acquire rewards by clicking the button, will be sent via the mail system, and you have to accumulate the battle duration time, not login duration time. So you can't just be logged in all day, you have to actually battle. And the following contents will be excluded from the duration time accumulation: Guild Raid, World Boss, PvP, and Story Replay. So make sure you're doing easy, normal, or hard, don't go back and replay the story for it. Unclaimed rewards cannot be recovered after the event. You can just spin the event by clicking the little scroll icon and pressing event. And here's the Fancy Fortune Pocket. Crit chance plus 100, crit hit damage plus 20%. Whew, okay, so those are all the events and the patch notes. That was a lot to go through. For anyone that stuck through to this point, thanks for watching the video. Clearly there's been a lot to digest this patch, but there's 3 new heroes. Requina seems like the most powerful. The most interesting definitely seems to be Philia. Ezekiel's pretty cool though, and pretty hot. And they're all pretty decent, except with the chance of Philia, who we'll have to see numbers for to see just how good her turret system is. A few hero changes, mostly Jane benefited, Castle benefited. Roa got a small nerf, but he deserves it after last week, or 2 weeks ago rather, and I'm a Roa main, so yeah. Nyx got a small buff, but it's nothing huge for Nyx, especially the way he's played normally in Arena, so it won't change too much. Bunch of new events starting. Make sure to participate in all of them. There's some pretty sweet rewards out there, especially with Valentine's Day chocolates. See what I did there? Lots of new special shop stuff for anyone that wants to support Vespa during their 1st year anniversary. There's definitely seems like a good time to spend some rubies. All the events seem pretty awesome. I'm pretty happy with this patch. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe if you like it, and have a good one.